the remorse. Retaliation. The twins Leo and Leah used to fight much. Every time Leo pulled hair, there would be a confrontation because Leah would never let him get away with it. Leo and Leah were always overjoyed to see their grandmother in the village. However, on occasion they would play cruel jokes on one another, and when one of them felt that the prank was unjust, they would fight and exact revenge. This prompted their grandmother to recall a significant act of retaliation from her past. One evening, she decided to tell them her story in an attempt to break the constant squabbling between them. Leah stated to her grandmother, "Nana, I can't find the candies you gave me as they were eating. Leo the idiot had probably taken it from me. Would you kindly ask him to return it?" Leah said, angrily pointing fingers at Leo, saying, "Leah, my grandchild, the..." "Grandmother, will you kindly finish your meal before I do? I'll tell you a story, and thereafter I'm sure you'll get your candy back," she assured him. She beckoned them over after they had eaten and told them her story. "There was a boy named Ura in high school who really complicated my life. He was constantly pulling practical jokes on people and occasionally acting really cruelly. Eventually, things started to go south. It happened during our school's yearly sporting event. Students gathered on the field to take part in a variety of events, and the mood was electric with anticipation. The school was in charge of organizing the competition. Athletics, while the principal's daughter was respected for her popularity and generosity, Captain Ella and her close buddy Ella were well known for their athletic abilities and leadership qualities. Everyone participated in the sport with great enthusiasm, especially when it came time for the exciting relay race to conclude. As the runners sprinted to the finish line, I can still picture myself standing among the onlookers and feeling the excitement of the crowd. While Ella's squad was in the lead, the team of the principal's daughter was not far behind. Athletics, while the principal's daughter was respected for her popularity and generosity, Captain Ella and her close buddy Ella were well known for their athletic abilities and leadership qualities. Everyone participated in the sport with great enthusiasm, especially when it came time for the exciting relay race to conclude. As the runners sprinted to the finish line, I can still picture myself standing among the onlookers and feeling the excitement of the crowd. While Ella's squad was in the lead, the team of the principal's daughter was not far behind. The principal's daughter's team won the race thanks to an incredible feat of speed and tenacity as they surged ahead on the final lap and crossed the finish line first. Applause broke out from the crowd in celebration of her outstanding performance. The tournament was followed by a brief prize ceremony. Ella gave the daughter of the principal a stunning reward, a sparkly necklace with a small pendant. It served as a thank you for her exceptional leadership and sportsmanship during the competition. The necklace was received with a beaming smile from the principal's daughter. For her, it was a proud moment and a representation of her perseverance and success. She had no idea that this carefree celebration would serve as the prelude to a string of surprising happenings later that day. After the initial thrill of the competition subsided, I discovered that I was in the middle of an unsettling circumstance. The daughter of the principal came up to me, her face worried. She trembled a little as she continued, "I can't find my necklace. I remember putting it in my bag after the ceremony, but now it's gone." "How can that be?" I inquired. "Are you... Yes, you did the bag search incorrectly. Come on, I'll check it out. I'll assist you," she uttered. After she took out her luggage, we went through everything, looking through every book, pen and item, but the necklace was still missing. It made me feel horrible and depressed, as any decent friend would. I became suspicious as soon as I understood how serious the situation was. The sparkling necklace had really vanished. My heart sunk. With my classmates' murmurs and sidelong glances, rumors went viral like wildfire. The missing jewelry was soon reported to the principal. The school then started an inquiry, interviewing pupils and looking through their personal items. As I observed the mayhem taking on all around me, my pulse raced. To my surprise and dismay, the necklace turned out hidden in my backpack during the search. I couldn't believe how it got there and was left in disbelief. I made an effort to clarify, but my objections were ignored. Ura was standing not far away, grinning. I could see the joy in his eyes as he took great pleasure in my situation. Well. It appears that someone has been apprehended, he exclaimed. I begged, no, Yura. I didn't do this, but no one could hear me since they were all muttering to themselves, unable to believe what I was saying or what was actually occurring. Tears clouded the principal's daughter's eyes as she picked up her jewelry. Her disappointment and hurt were palpable, and it crushed me to realize that she felt I had betrayed her confidence. My reputation had been severely damaged by Yura's wicked prank, and the accusations and murmurs continued to follow me about like a never-ending shadow. Years went by, and the scar from that terrible day began to heal. After high school, I moved to a busy metropolis far from my hometown to pursue a job. Lagos life continued, but the unfair charge remained deeply ingrained in my memories. One day, destiny made an unforeseen appearance. I was working for a famous company in Lagos when I ran across Yura, someone I knew well. Though he wasn't the owner, as he had claimed in high school, I ended up working at the same company in Lagos, despite my never having imagined I would see him again. Funny how life has a way of bringing people back together. I felt a range of feelings when I saw Yura again, including curiosity, resentment, and a persistent need for justice. We greeted each other warmly and made an effort to rekindle our connection, but the wounds from the previous arguments were still present in my heart, which made it difficult for us to be close. I discovered later on that Yura had grown up. He appeared to be more focused on his profession and less prone to play small jokes. Though I still harbored suspicions, we eventually became friendly, bonded by our childhood experiences. We began exchanging endless messages, and before I knew it, we were in a relationship. I was thinking about what Yura had done to me before one day over our work lunch break. I devised a scheme, a really innocent joke, since I wanted to demonstrate to him what it was like to be wrongly accused and embarrassed. I awaited. When Yura was not seated at his desk, the moment was perfect. Without letting him know, I discreetly removed a tiny object from our office and put a flash drive holding private company data into his pocket. I placed the flash drive into his pocket with a mixture of fear and resolve, sure that my strategy would work as intended. Later that day, the office descended into mayhem. An important item had vanished from our colleague's desk, leaving the staff members suspicious and alarmed. While chaos descended upon the office, I took advantage of the situation to carry out the next part of my planned plan. I saw Yura near the desk earlier, I murmured, shame thumping my chest. What? No, Jane, what's the purpose of this? Yura objected, appearing truly perplexed. But Yura, I saw you. Just admit it, I urged, with a mixture of regret and worry. You have to be confused. Yura begged, I swear I didn't take anything. I feigned to have seen Yura remove the lost item, even though I knew he didn't. I assumed that would be a harmless situation. Joke, a means to make him learn a lesson, but I had no idea what horror was going to happen. The tension increased as more co-workers entered the brawl. Yura had actually taken the USB disk, as they discovered when they searched his pocket. What's going on? Inquired a worried colleague. Someone else said, gesturing accusingly at Yura. Yura was caught stealing company data. As Yura realized how serious the situation was, his face went pale. The desperation in his voice said, I didn't take anything. I swear, however, my charge set up a firestorm. Co-workers became encircled with rage. Our observers gathered and accused Yura of stealing. I realized that this was pushing it too far. I made an attempt to step in. Stop now. It's a miscommunication, I begged. But shouts full of anger drowned out what I had to say. They began thrashing Yura as hostilities increased, striking him with large sticks and hauling him from the company's compound. Sadly, my attempts to step in were unsuccessful because he was surrounded by people and my voice was not heard. To my great dismay, I was horrified to see how things went out of control. Stop. I could no more shout. I continued pleading with the people to stop, but my voice went unheard. No matter how I screamed, sadly, someone splashed fuel on him. Chaos turned to horror as a match was lit. Before I could react, flames engulfed Yura and the mob's frenzy escalated. No, stop. No, stop. No, stop, I screamed, tears streaming down my face. But it was too late. The unthinkable happened. Yura, caught in their crossfire of fury and misconception, became the unwitting victim of my ill-fated vendetta. I stood frozen in disbelief as the reality of my actions unfolded before my eyes. My attempt at revenge had turned into a tragedy. I never meant for anyone to get hurt, let alone lose their life. Days passed, and I couldn't forgive myself for what had happened. Yura's death haunted me. His family and friends were devastated, and I was responsible. In the aftermath, I reflected on the harsh lesson I learned. Revenge begets sorrow and suffering. I wished desperately to turn back time, to choose understanding over vengeance. I attended Yura's funeral with a heavy heart. I wanted to apologize, to explain that it was all a misunderstanding. Yura had never stolen anything, but it was too late. My actions had caused irreparable damage. I learned a hard lesson that day. Revenge is never the answer. It only leads to more pain and suffering. I wish I could go back and undo what I did, but I can't. Now I have to live with the consequences of my actions. I hope others can learn from my story. It's important to treat each other with kindness and empathy, even in difficult situations. Words and actions have consequences, and sometimes the price we pay for revenge is too high. If only I could go back. If only I could turn back time. Days after the tragic incident, I found it increasingly difficult to cope with the guilt and sorrow. The weight of Yura's death hung heavily on my conscience, and I struggled to focus on my work at the company. Every day felt like a blur of regret and self-blame. One afternoon, as I sat at my desk staring blankly at the computer screen, my supervisor, Mr. Johnson, approached me with a concerned expression. "Jane, is everything all right?" "You haven't been yourself lately," he remarked, his voice filled with genuine concern. I sighed, feeling a lump form in my throat. "Truth is, I am. I'm just going through a tough time, a rough time," I managed to say, my eyes welling up with tears. "Mr. Johnson sat down next to me, his tone gentle. "Is there anything you want to talk to me about? You know I'm here to listen." I hesitated for a moment, unsure if I should confide in him. But the weight of my guilt became too much to bear, and I began to share the event that led to Yura's tragic demise. Mr. Johnson listened attentively. His expression grew sober as I recounted the details. "I am so sorry to hear that, Jane," he said softly. "It must be incredibly difficult for you. But remember, accidents happen, and it's important to forgive yourself." His words offered some comfort, but the ache in my heart remained. I knew I had to find a way to make amends to Yura's memory and prevent such tragedy from happening again. In the following weeks, I dedicated myself to promoting workplace harmony and fostering a culture of understanding among colleagues. I organized team-building activities and facilitated open discussions about communication and conflict resolution. Through this effort, I hoped to create a more supportive and compassionate environment. One day during a company meeting, I stood up and addressed my colleagues, my voice trembling slightly with emotion. "I want to share a personal story with you all," I began, my gaze sweeping across the room. "A mistake I made led to a devastating loss. Let's learn from this experience and strive to treat each other with empathy and kindness." To my surprise, many of my colleagues approached me afterward, expressing their own struggles and sharing words of encouragement. The atmosphere in the office gradually shifted as walls of misunderstanding were torn down and bridges of compassion were rebuilt. As time passed, I began to find solace in my efforts to promote positive change. I volunteered for community outreach programs and participated in initiatives aimed at raising awareness about the importance of forgiveness and reconciliation. One evening, as I reflected on the journey of healing and redemption, I received an unexpected email. It was from Yura's family, expressing their forgiveness and gratitude for my efforts to make a positive impact in his memory. Tears of relief and gratitude streamed down my face as I read the heartfelt words. It was a bittersweet moment filled with a mix of emotions. In the months that followed, I continued on my mission to spread empathy and understanding, both within the workplace and beyond. I knew that I could never undo the past, but I was determined to honor Yura's memory by making a difference in the lives of others. Looking back on everything that had transpired, I realized that forgiveness was the key to healing. So, my dear viewers, let Yure's memory forever serve as a reminder of the transformative power of forgiveness and the importance of fostering genuine connections with others. As I move forward with renewed purpose and hope, I vow to continue spreading these messages of compassion and understanding in honor of Yura and all those whose lives have been touched by our shared journey. After their grandmother had finished narrating her story to Leo and Leah, the room fell into a thoughtful silence. The weight of the tale lingered in the air, and the twins exchanged somber glances, their eyes reflecting a newfound understanding of the consequences of their actions. Tears welled up in Leah's eyes as she realized the gravity of her accusation against Leo. "I'm sorry, Leo," she whispered, her voice choked with emotion. "I shouldn't have accused you without knowing the truth." Leo reached out and gently squeezed Leah's hand, offering her a reassuring smile. "It's okay, Leah," he said softly. "I forgive you. We both learned a valuable lesson today." Their grandmother watched them with pride, her heart swelling with love for her grandchildren. "Forgiveness is a powerful gift, my dears," she said, her voice tender. "It takes strength and courage to let go of anger and resentment, but it is the key to healing and reconciliation." Leo and Leah nodded in agreement, their hearts filled with gratitude for their grandmother's wisdom. Together, they made a solemn promise never to let their childish quarrels escalate into hurtful actions again. As they embraced each other, a sense of peace settled over them, a silent vow to cherish their bond and nurture their relationship with empathy and understanding. In that moment, surrounded by the warmth of family and the wisdom of generations past, Leo and Leah knew that they had embarked on a journey of growth and redemption, a journey guided by timeless values of forgiveness and love. "And so, my dear viewers," the grandmother continued, addressing the camera, "as you witnessed the consequences of anger and revenge in this story, I implore you to reflect on your own lives. Is there someone you need to forgive? Is there someone who deserves your understanding and compassion?" She paused, letting the question hang in the air. As you have seen in this story, forgiveness can heal wounds and mend broken relationships. So I ask you, dear viewers, is there someone in your life you need to forgive? Take a moment to reflect on the power of forgiveness and how it can bring peace and harmony into your life and those around you. She smiled warmly. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching and see you in my next video. Bye.